Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41, the tastiest food show on the Most FM. We are talking about food, gardening, hospitality, and people who are involved in all this. And of course, music, because we are the radio station. We're recording our show live on the Facebook group page. Look for Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. And join in if you like to peek behind the scenes. We are Olina Williams and Warwick Foy, local foodies and the Most FM broadcasters. Our videographers today are Ollie for young talent, young artist, raising star, watch for him, and Nathan Griffith. He is a social media manager and he's the leader of a foodie group, Foodie Reviewers. And our guests today, amazing people, hard workers, Fiona and Stephen Black from Bees R Us. Hello, guys.
Hi.
How about we listen to some music first? It's Viva La Vida by Coldplay.
Easy.
You need to move your body. Because sometimes you feel your throat gets here.
Of course.
You've got to put up. Oh, that's awesome. I hope you share with your husband. How did you guys get into apiary, into bees? You were not born into bees? Well, we're not on here, but first.
It's Stephen's fault.
Oh, of course.
When we moved to New Zealand, we had some land and he said, oh, I fancy doing some bees. Can I have a couple of my beehives? So we got two.
All right.
That's not right.
This is not the right story. Okay, she did that. She told you that she wanted to be.
I wanted to buy a farm.
Yeah,
all right.
Buy a farm. Nobody want to buy a farm.
Okay. Now do you have a farm now?
Little one.
Several hundred. 6 acres?
6 acres.
6 acres.
6 acres.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, that's a lot. 6
Yeah.
acres. It's much more than some people can handle, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah. So it started as a hobby
Started
and got bigger.
Okay, awesome. When did you realize that it's not a hobby anymore?
I used to work away overseas, so I'd be gone for 6 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever. So I like to have the time at home, but also I got sick of going away.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, what can I do that I can have the time off and still earn money?
Yeah, that's really a good way to spend your time. Instead of going to the pub and drinking yourself stupid, you can have several beehives. And the whole movement at the moment says that bees are so important for the turnover of everything, for our humanity to survive. Is that true?
It's overhyped.
Overhyped.
In New Zealand, we've got a problem that we have too many beehives.
Oh, wow.
So because of that, the beehives are suffering.
All right.
It's like, we've got overstocking, so there's more diseases that have been created because of overstocking. There's lack of food because of overstocking.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an interesting topic, isn't it? I never knew that.
And we've now got to the point where we've got a big honey glut, so that the price of honey is falling through the bottom.
Oh, it was too many
So it's just,
offer.
too much.
Too much on offer. Wow. Yeah, well, you never know. The golden middle is very hard to achieve. Very often it's either too little or too much.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's a sweet business, you know. You know, there is a Ukrainian vodka which is based on Chilean honey. Yes, it's considered like a national drink, and so it's very spicy and it's very sweet at the same time. And some people swear that it's good against colds and viruses. I don't know how true is that. Maybe it's just a placebo effect.
The honey wine was delicious.
Honey
I don't
wine.
know how that came to be in the store, but I tried that. It was absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Welcome back to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. And we have amazing guests today in the studio with Olina Williams and Warwick Foy. They are representatives of the small boutique apiary, Bees R Us, and it is Fiona and Stephen Black. Hello, guys, again.
Hi.
We just listened to the Coldplay. Fiona, why did you choose Viva La Vida?
Well, working in the honey house, I work alone a lot, and I like listening to lots of music. And that one is I like going to concerts, and I've been to see them in concert, and it just brings me back memories of happier times when we could all go to concerts. And yeah. And,
where did you see them
in Auckland.
Oh,
yeah.
Spark Arena? Mount Smart.
Yes, yeah, it was a big one. Yeah. Took my girls, and yeah, good times. Yeah.
A lot of people say that plants and animals react to the music. Do you think your bees can hear?
Oh, I think so. Cause when I'm out on my own with in one of the apiaries, I have my music going, and we chill together. So yeah.
Does Stephen share your music preference?
Oh no, he's got his own.
Okay, tell us, what are you into?
I know we have to guess.
Heavy metal.
He looks like a jazz man.
I listen to all sorts of things.
Pop.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite at the moment?
Don't really have any favourites.
Definitely pop.
Classic rock.
Classic rock.
1980s, 70s.
Yeah.
Country, maybe a little bit of country. Not Rastaman.
Whatever suits the atmosphere and stuff. You know.
Whatever's on the most.
Yeah,
because we're an alternative radio station.
Yes.
So Bees R Us is agricultural cooperative. What does that mean?
Oh, it just means that because with bees, we're agriculture, and just we're an agriculture business because as well as being the agriculture, we're also the retail, and we're wholesale. We're a bit of everything.
Wow, you have to be if you're a small business because you have to be so many things.
Yes, and beekeeping is one of the only primary industries where you can do everything from being at the beehives to producing the honey, to extracting the honey, to packing the honey and selling the honey. You don't have anybody else in the middle doing it.
That's a very interesting point. So give us an example of a primary industry where you can't do everything, and which part can't you do?
Like beef, you've got an abattoir in between, so you can't do everything. So
that's true.
I can't think of anything else just at the minute, but I know that
Fishing would be you're not allowed to sell, you're not allowed to catch, process, sell it, I think.
I don't know. I know that beekeeping is the only one I think that you can do absolutely
very unique, isn't it?
Yep.
Also, I had a conversation recently with someone, and she said, I'm so sick to work for someone. I want my own business. In this case, when I want to go on holiday, I'll just leave. And I was like, right, before you had to ask for holidays one person who is your supervisor, but now if you leave, you have to organize your family, your team, your supplies and everything.
Yes, it's not so easy. You've got to make sure that any customers, they know that you're going away. You've got so much to organize if you do want to have time off. Yeah.
So if the motivation to live easier life, don't start your business.
I think having your own business is good in some ways. We did our own business for our family because we wanted the lifestyle. We want to be able to take the odd day off to go cross country. We wanted to be able to be there for the children. And now the children have grown up and we can sort of have it for ourselves now. So, but that was why I didn't want to have the 9-to-5 job. We do work longer hours sometimes. Sometimes in the busy periods, we can be backwards and forwards to do the honey, come home for something to eat and then go back down and work till late, but you've got the flexibility to fit in with the family. Yeah.
Up to the age of 18, I thought the children are born because the parents need help and they need like slaves in the family.
That's what we thought too. It didn't quite work that way.
Then later on when I started the uni, something clicked that it's actually sometimes they appear with no reason or maybe upper mind decides upon them.
I think they were more helpful when they were smaller and then they realised that they should actually be getting paid for it, and then they decided that it was optional.
Of some money. Yeah, it's quite interesting. And you are talking with a very strong Scottish accent.
Yes, I'm originally from Aberdeen in Scotland.
Okay.
And I met Stephen. He's from New Plymouth, and he was over working in the oil industry. Mm-hmm. And I met him over there, and then we moved back here in 2001, and that's when we started doing the bees, when we moved here.
Wow, this is an interesting.
Apart from oil and gas, what's Aberdeen's most famous, notable feature?
Oh, the granite city, the grey.
Interesting.
yeah. So
I've told you my Scottish story before, haven't I?
No.
Oh, I'm going to tell you now. I hitchhiked from London to John O'Groats with a friend, and I remember the most memorable ride was with some Hare Krishna people. They took us a long way too, so they were good. But when I got to Glasgow, the driver said, "Be careful around here, mate. They won't steal your ring; they'll just chop your finger off."
Yep.
All right. Hopefully, I'll get a ride all the way from here to the top.
Maybe you were lost in translation. Can you speak Scottish? What is the Scottish language called, by the way?
We've got various ones. Where I'm from, it's more a dialect, and it's called Doric. And we've got sort of different words for things, and I do get a lot broader when I'm talking to family, but I have to talk properly while I'm here so that people can understand me.
It's amazing how you control it. In just in one sentence, you come from one accent to another.
Yeah.
And it's, I've seen a photograph of you in a very funny beret.
Yeah. So I do talks about the bees and about what we do and the extraction process, and I'm shy generally, but to be able to do these talks, I have to put my bee suit on and my funny hat, and then I get into character, and then I can do the talks. And I try to make it light-hearted and funny, because I don't want people going to sleep. I want people to be interested, and I want people to learn things. So if I can make it funny, if I can make it interesting, then I get a lot of feedback that they've learned stuff. So that's important. So
There is another hack how to make people very engaged. You just take some bees with you and they'll be running around.
yeah.
So it is honey is all over the world, because bees live all over the world.
Yes.
In every country. Is Scottish honey different from New Zealand?
We did sort of investigate that one time when we went on holiday. We made a point of going to visit some beekeepers over there, but they have a very short, they've only got about a 6-week period of decent weather. So I think the majority over there also do packing of honey, and they buy in a lot of their other honeys so that they can pack it to be able to provide enough for their shops and things. So I think here in New Zealand, we've got the advantage that we have a longer season.
Yes.
So we can make a lot more of the honey and not have to buy in, and especially import. We don't want to import honey into New Zealand. We want to be able to keep it New Zealand honey.
Do we import honey?
No.
When legally
It's against
the law. Yeah.
I remember the honey that I was going to bring from Australia was, they asked me politely to get rid of it.
Yes.
And it was so sad because it was so expensive, and I love honey. Russian culture, Ukrainian culture has lots of honey products in it. We have honey in food, in drinks, and medicine, and so many different things. Like Ukrainians' national drink is vodka infused with honey and chili. We were taught at a very young age, because my grandma was into the herbs and things, that there are 3 ways to preserve the medicinal qualities of herbs. One of them is you have to infuse it in oil, but it is short-lived because oil oxidizes really easy. Then with alcohol, because alcohol keeps the good properties, but it loses something in the process. But it's for a long term. And another one in the honey, but honey has to be liquid, it has to be fresh. And it is in a disadvantage in a way, because not all the botanicals are ready to be collected when the honey is liquid. So again, you have to either preserve them in some way within alcohol, or dry them, and then can infuse in the honey. But it's amazing that honey can actually absorb all the solutions based on alcohol or on oil, so that it becomes the same. And there are many recipes against so many ailments. I just don't know where to start from.
so many, what did you say?
Recipes against ailments.
What is the person from Aberdeen called?
An Aberdonian.
Aberdonian. So who's the most famous Aberdonian?
Yes, work with this quiz.
Lennox.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
This is in fact the only person I could name from Aberdeen. Who else is from Italy?
Emily Sandy, you heard of her? No. She does singing. She's sort of more current at the minute.
Footballer. Manchester.
Oh, you're Alex Ferguson.
Oh, of course.
Yes,
yeah.
he was the manager. When I was in Aberdeen.
Possibly the greatest football manager ever.
Yeah,
That's
and
good
then
to
he
see
moved
Alex.
to Man. And then he moved
Did
away.
you?
Yeah.
Wow. There's some actresses from Aberdeen, I remember. I can't really tell the name. For me, names are still a problem because English is not my first language. I try to avoid call people by name because I'm so afraid to make a mistake. But it is interesting how all this kind of comes all around the world and kind of comes up to New Zealand, and us meeting and talking about honey, the universal product on earth, something that everyone talks about.
Rose Leslie, Game of Thrones.
Yes, that's probably the one. She's amazing. She's quite tall and strong and very, very distinctive character. So, first of all, I met you through the network, the Women Network, and I was so thrilled, so amazed, so inspired by you. One of the reasons is just because your small business wasn't about money only, it was about education. So you did educational tours, you talk about honey, and you also supported the other apiaries. So you delivered them services, sometimes free. So this is pretty amazing. And this is a unique thing because now there are a lot of places where people do their own honey, have a farmlet and have a honey hive there. And there are a lot of little places where they produce honey on markets and things like that, but there is only bees are us. So how did your journey evolve since then?
We've just sort of grown slowly. I think we just did a bit at a time. We're not one to grow huge quickly, so we always just added a little bit of equipment just to make life easier, and added another bit, and we've just sort of just grown quietly rather than.
That's a good way to grow because big spikes of growth always followed by big spikes of going down.
Yes,
it's a natural marketing thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So we're trying to just keep it local. That's the main thing of our the honey is. It's all local. We produce it local. The beehives are all Taranaki local. So we collect the hives, the honey from them, and then we extract it and we pack it, and it's all done at Okatu at our home. So that's for us is a main thing. The fact is that the honey that I sell at the markets is local. Yeah.
I just went on the train from Hamilton to Auckland last week. Tihuia, it's called. Boy, there's a lot of beehives.
There are a lot of
on
beehives.
people's farms because the train goes off obviously away from the road, and it's the back end of the farm up against the railway line, and so just stacked up. Did you see those two, Ollie? A lot is on the screen. A lot of beehives on the way.
Yeah. So we've got to be careful. We have got this problem of overstocking, and I think Waikato has a huge problem.
Can you also comment on the following? I just had a text from a loyal listener who said that Aberdeen girls have the shortest miniskirts in the world.
Oh. Probably I wasn't one of them, but yes, sometimes on a Saturday night it'd be freezing and you would walk down Union Street, and yes, they do.
I think it's a really good time to listen to our second music piece, which is "Cry" by Stigma. Take that.
Yeah. Another one I saw in a concert.
Wow, so you were one of those girls in a short skirt?
No. Oh no.
You probably look quite hot in a short skirt.
How many kids have you got?
We've got 3.
Where did they go to school?
My oldest one's 22. She's now a graduate chemical and process engineer. My second one, Callum, he's contractor, driving tractors, and my youngest one is year 13 at Girls' High. Wants to be a vet.
High achievers.
Yeah.
The boys went to Boys' High.
Boys. Yeah.
So did they get this farming bug from dad, or is it just?
Oh, he has always. We moved to New Zealand when he was 6 months, but so he's always known the country. We originally lived at Urshley, and he just loved watching the tractors drive past. He helped the neighbours milk at weekends since he was about 12.
So I heard something. It was an opinion, but I'm interested. What do you think about it? I heard that kids who grow on the farm and who has an access to animals and dirt and things like that, they very rarely have allergies. Is that true?
Because they eat worms and dirt.
They don't eat worms. This is a misconception about farming kids.
I don't know.
Ours has been fine. We have, other than bees, allergy to bees, yeah.
Is any of you allergic to bees?
Me.
Oh, person allergic to bees is good.
So we have,
and our oldest Isla, yeah, it's two of us that we know of.
so you have an EpiPen in your pocket.
We've both done 6 years of immunotherapy where we got injected every month by the equivalent of 2 bee stings. I know he said he could do it cheaper. Yeah,
So it works.
Seems to. Yeah, Isla still carries an EpiPen. She's worried because she doesn't get stings regularly, whereas with me still working with the bees, I still get them quite regularly, and so my body doesn't have large reactions. But,
to show how much Russians believe in any bee therapy or something like that, if someone has sciatic nerve, so they do put a bee to a certain point for a sting. So I think it's 1, 2, or 3, or 4 maximum, and it's supposed to take the pain away.
It just gives you different pain.
I don't know. I never tried that. I hope I would never have to. You see how Russians are really tough people, crazy. I can imagine you on a concert.
My kids didn't know me at a concert until they saw me at that.
Welcome back to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. It is us, Olina Williams, and work for your local foodies and the most broadcasters. We have amazing guests today in the studio, Fiona and Stephen Black from Bees R Us, and they've been entertaining us with the stories about the shorter skirt in Aberdeen and about their journey, how they became farmers, and how bees is not only a matter to eat or get money from, but also to educate people and kind of spread love. So at the moment, the market is like, it has to be saturated. Like if you have one product, you're not in a business. And what flavors does your honey come in?
Well, because we're quite specialist and small, we can have our bees in different areas. So we do mostly the basic honeys, the clovers, the pasture, the bush honey, but we can also go into orchards, and we've got macadamia orchard honey. So we don't get a lot of it, but when we do, it can be quite tasty and a bit different, but it's from what's flowering in the whole orchard, so not just specifically the macadamia nuts. But we've had chestnut honey. We've had avocados. Yeah.
My favorite is buckwheat. It's quite dark and it's quite stingy, but it's again probably my ancestry talking.
So because of that, we can sometimes it's all seasonal. It all depends on the weather and what we get each year. So every year is different.
How can be you sure that it's this particular honey? Because they say that it's a rosemary honey, this is a lavender honey. How can you control that bees go only to this?
We can't really, but like an example, the macadamia, they've got big shelter belts around them. The bees are in there when they're flowering. Like the avocado honey, the bees were put in for the avocado flowering, for the duration of the flowering. So we can move the bees around, but with us, generally, the bees are there all year round. We try and keep them there all year round so that they do the best jobs, and we don't stress them moving around.
But also, you can look at the colour of the honey, the taste of the honey.
So you can tell by taste what place. Oh, that's probably quite an advanced taste buds. So New Zealand tries to protect its Manuka honey brand because it's again medicinal. There's many aspects of it, and it's quite unique. Endemic plant. Manuka doesn't exist anywhere else. So tell us, what do you know? What do we need to know about Manuka honey?
A lot of what is talked about, there's no real good scientific proof.
Okay.
The only proof there is works on skin, maybe your back of your throat. But all honeys are good for healing on the skin. They do pretty much everything that Manuka does on your skin. And it's because it's honey, because it's low moisture content, it's acidic, it has peroxide in it. All these things kill bacteria. When you take fruit and you want to preserve fruit, you put it in sugar syrup. So it's the sugars killing, stopping the bacteria and stuff growing, and it does the same on your skin.
Alina, have you heard of Rawleys?
Tell me about it.
Have you guys heard of Rawleys?
I've seen them. Yeah, yeah.
So when I was a kid, the Rawleys man would come to your house with his catalogue. My parents would buy this little yellow round pot with the little thing that you twist and the lid comes
Oh,
on.
yeah, yeah.
And it was a healing cream, and it was made from honey. So I do remember what you just said, reading about that on that can and putting it on a burn or a cut or something, and it was really good. I don't know why we don't do that anymore.
Honey has many medicinal qualities: antibacterial, antiviral, and also antifungal. 3 in 1. This doesn't exist anywhere else on the shelf, because it's either one or another or the third one. And we were told that the honey that are local are the best, because it's actually the same water as you consume is feeding the plant, and the plant is feeding the bee, and so it's kind of, you're connecting to nature.
So you should be eating local honey, because the pollens in the honey will help your hay fevers, because it helps your body to get used to the local pollens in the air. So yeah.
But what are the byproducts of the honey? I'm so devoted. I take pollen every day.
There is this pollen, there's beeswax, propolis. There's lots of different things that, as well as the honey, that we can do, with the bees. So you've got your candles, you've got comb honey, you've got your wax wraps, and then your pollens, and we do all of that.
Honeycombs is such a treat. Such a rare treat. I was going to ask you about, is it the varroa mite? Is that bees?
It arrived in New Zealand the same time as we did, but it's not my fault. So yes, it's a mite that
it's a parasitic mite that sucks the blood out of the bees, and it reproduces on the larva of the bees. So when the larva's pupating, the varroa mite goes into the cocoon, lays eggs. Those eggs hatch and suck the blood from the pupa, which weakens it, and diseases, the viruses get into the pupa. So generally that damages the hive. The virus gets into the hive, sucking the blood out of the bees, weakens the beehive, and of course the varroa numbers increase all the time. They keep on increasing until you eventually get to the point where the hive collapses.
So the way it's managed is probably a bit like COVID, is you lock it down, eliminate it.
So we've got miticide strips that we have to put into the beehives, some in the springtime, some in the winter, when the hives are a bit reduced numbers, so that it can help the bees to reduce the number of mites, and just be able to
guess where the varroa mite came from.
Russia. So across the country, we are basically mitigating varroa with the management techniques you just described, and coexisting with it.
Yeah, that's correct. And overstocking is also making it worse, because there's so many beehives jammed in. The bees don't necessarily generally they go back to their own beehive, but they can drift between beehives, and they can go. So if this one here's got a good dose of varroa, the bees will leave that hive and they'll come to the other hive. So they sort of mix it all up.
Do you have to destroy the bees that are infected? No, you don't?
Not for varroa, no.
You just can
We've
treat
got
them.
other diseases. American foul brood is one of those that's a notifiable disease, and if you find it, you have to destroy the hive, burn the hive. Yeah.
Royal jelly has been sold for many, many years, and Asia is just craving about it. They say that it's one of the best products to keep youth, like good quality of skin collagen and things like that. So it's based on honey as well, and also propolis, I think, and something like that. What's in the royal jelly?
So royal, it's the food that the bees feed the larva.
Oh, right.
So in particular, they have a souped up food for the queens. So they have a normal. There's only 2 types of bees in a hive: a male and female. And the female, when fed lots of food, turns into the queen. So if you trick the bees that they want to have, or that they need a queen, you can harvest the the raw jelly out of the excess cells, the queen cells.
Does queen have to die?
So pretty much, yeah. Well, what's the larva? You kill the larvae.
Mm. Oh, wow.
This is a really interesting discussion.
Killing queens and stuff.
The queen, is there just one queen per hive? Usually?
Most times.
Mostly, but it's not unusual to find 2 or 3 in a hive, particularly in autumn time.
And who chooses who's going to become the queen?
So,
Vessel.
so normally what you find in the ones in autumn, it's the old queen who's passed it. The bees have raised a new queen, so they sort of coexist. But
Apprentice.
Yeah.
You can imagine all these intrigues in the court.
but in springtime, they do wrestle one.
Right. And what is the life cycle or lifespan of a bee, a queen bee?
So it can be approximately 5 years if it's disease-free. For getting the most production out of your hive, about 2 years, because the older the queen gets, it's more slow as she gets and doesn't produce as much.
And
but with the variety, you really, if you want maximum production out of your hive, you need to be changing them every year.
right, see, and the worker bees have a similar lifespan?
No, only about, it depends on the time of the year. So during the summer, about 6 weeks. During the winter, it might be 5 months. It's we call it wing miles.
For a queen bee, which is an insect, that must be one of the longest living insects on the planet, surely.
I don't know, you've got all the termites and queens, I don't know how long they live.
Whatever the lifespan is, I don't want to be a bee because it's still quite short. I'd rather be a human. It is interesting. They're a very interesting animal, and they create like a conscious within the hive, and they can do together something more than each bee can do, which is quite an amazing concept. It's like an almost alien concept to what we do. Like humans are still quite individualistic, but bees are all aiming to achieve something as a society in a way, which is really interesting. So we are in winter, and honey is considered one of the best things to kind of treat some illnesses, colds and stuff. Don't cough, or we don't have a mask. So what is your favorite winter recipe with honey?
Oh, I think everybody's just into the honey and lemon drinks, and
That's universal,
yeah,
isn't it? In
yeah.
every culture, basically.
yes,
Some
so
acidity, some sweetness.
I found out about the insects. You were right, that queen termite can live for decades, which seems unbelievable. Cicadas can live for many years, and splendor beetles, I don't know what that, can live for 30 years. The longest recorded lifespan of a splendor beetle is 51 years.
wow.
I still don't want to be an insect for my favorite recipe for the honey is actually honey cake. So you create like pancakes, like a very spongy, very thin pancakes, and you add honey to it instead of sugar, and then you layer it with a bit of sour cream. And this is a very, very healthy recipe if you think about it, because there's proteins. It's not a lot of flour there, so it's not a lot of carbs there. There's honey to sweeten it, and it's kind of very light feeling because of the texture. This is layered. You can have as many as 12 layers. So you sell your honey I've seen you selling your honey on the markets, like a seafood, seaside market, and
we're
also
we're at the farmers market. We tried a lot of the other markets, but we can't, because of the weather. Sometimes they can't hold them, so we moved to the farmers market on Hewwood Plaza every Sunday 9 to 12, because we're there whether it's blowing a gale, whether it's pouring with rain. I'm not sure what the weather's like for this Sunday, but yeah, we're there on a farmers market.
Now I'm pretty sure there's no Masters Games for beekeeping. But you are wearing a TET Masters Games hoodie, so you have to tell us.
I decided that since I was doing all this weightlifting and things to lift the beehives, and the children are now old enough, I'd get back into athletics. So I throw things.
Discus, hammer.
I do discus, hammer, weight throw, javelin, shot put.
Wow.
Yeah.
I believe it's very good for family life. No one's going to argue with you.
Well,
What about the Scottish
oh,
one?
the caber. No,
The caber.
women are not allowed to
Oh.
throw the caber. No.
Awesome. This is so good. So, is it something that you do in a group or just for yourself?
I do it for myself, but there's a group at, because you joined an athletics club, so there are a few of us and we're all the same age. So we do a lot of the masters. We don't do the sort of mainstream. I like doing it with people of my own age, and then you're in with a better chance. So yeah.
I'm so glad that you brought this hoodie with you, because otherwise the world wouldn't notice and we wouldn't talk about it. This is another interesting topic.
I started it also because it allows us, me and Stephen, to have weekends away with a purpose, because we haven't had weekends away for many years. So I started, so our first holiday just before COVID was to go to Australia for the Oceanic Masters, and that was my first event, and I got four silvers and a bronze.
What's your best event?
I don't know, because we do pentathlon as well. We was through all five, so
It's impressive.
yeah.
Stephen's is it your manager, your coach?
Number 2 supporter. Callum's my number 1. He
Physio.
comes.
Toy boy. Lost out. Smiling.
No,
he's not throwing anything at me.
Yeah, he tells, just pretend you're throwing a honey box.
Yes. Well, you guys are so amazing, and having a family team is always an advantage, because 21st century is not a century of individual achiever. There is no person who can achieve something remarkable by himself. There's always a team behind, and family team is probably the most reliable team you ever can have. And also because you have so many different goals for your business, like, as I said, education, and also being local and making sure that your ethos are staying the same. It's important that everyone in the team is kind of on the same board, on the same page, and it's probably easier when it's a family. At least you can come to a compromise. How do you compromise made, Stephen, in your household? How do you compromise? Do you argue, or do you just do a trade, like, okay, I'll do this, but you'll do that? No?
Sometimes it's arguing, but most of the time it's just like, oh,
Don't forget she throws things. You've got to be careful.
Don't forget that the beehives has a queen whom they actually feed to death.
There's only one queen in this hive.
There is a very popular topic at the moment: support the local. And I don't know whether it's just a slogan or is it real. Do you feel support from the locals?
I do. There are a lot of people come down and see us at the market. I do get a lot of messages, especially local round Okata. We do another market on a Wednesday in Hempton Hall in Okata, and it only runs for an hour and a half, but it can be really busy. So we do feel sort of the love from the locals, and I can leave honey in my letterbox, and people pick it up from me, and it is something that I do feel strongly about.
Do people make bad jokes?
All
Buzz
the
off.
time, all the time. Yes. Oh, you're my honey.
Which is the one you most often hear?
Oh, I don't know. I can't. I don't know. I can't think of anything just immediate. But yeah, we get the honey and.
Honey.
Yeah, and I'm known as the honey lady.
Honey lady.
And he's the bee man. And that's just what.
Oh, this is a perfect match. Made on heaven. This is a bee man and a honey lady.
So
I think it's a perfect time to listen to the third piece of music, Say Amen by Panic at the Disco. Interesting choice of music, Fiona.
Like I said, all three have been to concerts, all in Auckland, and it just.
Panic at the Disco, where did they?
They were at the. They've been twice. Once I didn't go with Anna. The second time we did, and Ishbel came too. So it was only about 4 years ago. Yeah.
Can't hear us. We're not on you.
No,
good. Just checking.
Are we annoying you? But you'd say that emo music, I think.
I don't know, but with having the two girls, I just get this music, and you just can't help but sometimes listen to it in the car on drive. I get bombarded with this music, and this one I quite find some of the stuff is just quite, and I like listening to it. And then when the girls said, "Oh, we want to go to the concert," I was like, "Oh, I might get myself a ticket just to come along with you." So you're sitting in the car outside, and I really enjoyed it. It was just.
Sometimes kids open the doors for us.
Yeah.
Go through.
I think my girls are quite surprised sometimes with the songs that's on my playlist. They're like, "Why? Oh, you like that one?" Or they'll play something. I'll say, "Oh, I'll just slip that on my playlist." So, yeah, I've got a wide range. Yeah.
Wow, so cool. I was going to say something and then I forgot what it was. It was something really, really important. I was holding.
Oh.
Yeah. So you're doing expos as well, right?
We did.
Did it bring a good result?
We did a few things, but it's sort of when COVID came, it sort of dried up. So we've been concentrating on the domestic, nationwide domestic.
Also, what happened is forget the overstocking. So we found that a lot of other companies were undercutting us, and just like larger corporate type people with money from outside the country just coming in and undercutting us, and got to the point where you couldn't do it.
Can you send your honey overseas? If I would tell you, like, here is the addresses. Can you send a package to it? Potentially.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Probably will be expensive.
Yeah, small. Yeah, I think. Yeah, more up to about 2 kilos, so not a lot.
I have an interesting collaboration for you. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
The guy came to our show, and he's Iranian, and he started the teas. And he actually sweetens his teas either with dates or with the honey. And in Middle East, honey is a really good addition to their diet. They add it basically in a lot of things. So you need to meet them.
Okay, yeah.
And he sells over different, and he's very proactive. He's a former media person.
I've read articles.
Yes.
About beekeepers in Middle East countries.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. We have amazing guests today in the studio. It is Fiona and Stephen Black from Bees Are Us. And it is us, Alina Williams and Warwick Foy. We were talking about bees, we were talking about live music on the concerts, we were talking about short skirts and Aberdeen, we were talking about medicinal qualities of honey, and it is so interesting, and how bees are feeding their queens to death, basically, and replacing them with another one, and how interesting that different species can achieve much more grouping into units and societies. There is a lot of things that are going on in the biz industry. Are you busy at the moment? What's your next gig?
Just now we've sort of calmed down a bit. It's winter time. We're just doing sort of maintenance, and I just pack honey as I need it, and we sort of start gearing up again. Springtime, we'll start getting busy again, and yeah, so we're just sort of maintenance stuff at the minute. I'm having a bit of a breather.
I was always wondering how much the honey costs, because once I bought a honey jar that cost $200. It had a very beautiful package, and it opened like a flower. And also it says that it has very high level of certain things and other things. Is it reflecting the true nature of honey? Is some honey more expensive than another?
I think it is, but some honeys are very well marketed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
all I'll say. The marketing's good. Yeah. I wouldn't say that they all represent what they do, but yeah, all honeys are good. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're coming to the end of the show. It's time to wrap it up. And I would like to say a few words from our sponsor, Area 41. They just introduced the new menu. It's a winter menu. They have a Swiss dish on the menu, which is when you melt cheese and you just put cheese. It's called fondue. So this is really, really nice. And also they introduced a new dessert there. And in general, go and going away for coffee, meal, meetings or events. It is an Italian restaurant a cat and bar with a passion for traditional Italian meals with a twist. So they're open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week, and all their meals can also be ordered as takeaways. Thank you for listening to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. Now we are going to take some selfies and post them on Instagram and Facebook. Tune into 100.4 FM every Saturday at 4 p.m. Remember, there is a live recording of this interview online on Taranaki Foodies with Area 41 group page on Facebook. Meet you next Saturday at 4 p.m. on Airways. Bye-bye, my gourmetarians. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
This was easy. Look, you did it in 50 minutes, and you are not tired. Yeah, that was good.
That was good. Yeah.
I'm more interested to kind of learn about your educational thing, because it's still, I have this kids